his list is looking at a bust of Beethoven.
Okay, I think we're good, guys.
Okay. Okay, great.
I'm going to do a little intro with you, witty banter, etc. Do a little housekeeping, and then we'll go to your video, and then we'll have Q&A after, just like we
Okay.
spoke about this morning.
Yeah, it sounds great. So I'll just wait here.
Sounds good. And we have 20 people. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to let this build up a little bit. My name is Steve Turner. I am a faculty member at Ventura College. I'm so glad you can make it today. I'm going to wait just a couple more seconds for us to get started. Perfect. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And welcome to our very special virtual performance. Please feel free to activate your transcription if you wish at the bottom of your screen. We will also have an ASL interpreter, Raul and Kimmy, tag teaming here, just so you know. Again, my name is Steve Turner. I'm a faculty at Ventura College. Oh my gosh, as a faculty member over the years, I've had several opportunities to meet some diverse special students, but I think it's really important to acknowledge, especially when we follow each other's career, when there's a special, humble giver to his community and to his passion, that we celebrate that. And so today, we're in a situation where I get to introduce a former student of mine. Llewellyn Sanchez-Werner is a virtuoso in every sense of the way. And that's not just me talking. This is things like the San Francisco Chronicle. Llewellyn, now at 24, holds multiple degrees from Juilliard, Yale, and was named the Gilmore Young Artist, an honor awarded to the most promising American pianist of his generation. He's performed at the White House for President Obama. His multifaceted artistry that you'll see in a moment has been featured on NPR, PBS, CNN International, The Wall Street Journal, and many, many more. He's received the Atlantic Council Young Global Citizen Award, recognizing social action, which is kind of why we're here today, through his music in countries like Iraq, Rwanda, France, Canada, and America. General Petraeus, remember him? He commended Llewellyn for his, quote, courageous humanitarian contributions through the arts, strengthening the ties that unite our nations. So Llewellyn is here with us today. I'm very excited to let him share his passion for music, for humanity, and for healing in this time of pandemic. So 2021 Cultural Diversity Festival, I humbly give you the honor of meeting Llewellyn Sanchez-Werner. How are you doing today, Llewellyn?
I'm great, and it is a pleasure to be with you, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, great. Well, I'm so excited to have you back. What I'd like to do is kind of take a moment to see what you are doing during this pandemic for a second. How are you coping? Because arts are really been impacted by this.
They really have, and I think that on the other end of this pandemic, none of us are going to be the same. And I know, by the way, that I've spoken to you on the phone about how you and your very brave wife have dealt with some of the horrors of this pandemic quite directly, and I'm in awe of that. So that has to be said first. But then, yes, but then the role of what artists can do during this time. You know, first of all, the whole schedule was really wiped clean. Everything was either postponed or canceled, or moved virtually. So we had to get proactive. And one thing that I did was realize that I had to turn my living room into my new concert hall. So I learned how to tune the piano, going inside, fixing broken strings, fixing lots of things, really understand how to handle recording equipment on my own, something that usually would be done by an external film crew or whatnot, and start really taking full ownership of every aspect of performing, which I think has allowed me to grow tremendously. And then in our virtual concerts has allowed us to expand our reach. We're able to now play for people in various communities in various parts of the world so much more easily than we would have before. And so I think that since music is supposed to transcend cultural barriers and promote, as you talked about, healing and understanding, I think that what we're now capable of doing, whether it's all styles of music, concert halls, individual artists, what we are now capable of will lead to being much greater ambassadors of music. So
Wow.
it's been a very crazy year, of course, for all of us, but I'm grateful for how it has now allowed us to share music in a totally, totally different way.
So you use technology to innovate like
Sure.
us educators had to and our students did and our community. So really happy to hear that. I think that's amazing. What I'd like to do now, you guys, is share a little something. Give me just a quick moment, if you would. And without any further ado, I would really like to share the musical stylings of Llewellyn. And it's been a pleasure catching up with you over the last couple weeks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I have so many memories of our time together at VC, Steve. Really, it's been so much fun for me to catch up with you as well.
Yeah, the thing that's been kind of fun is Llewellyn actually did a concert for a fundraiser with my auxiliary back in the day. And it's been really interesting to not just see his playing go to new levels, but also see how his maturity and always had a sense of self. But I think it's been interesting to see Llewellyn get to a point where he's balanced, he's humble to this very moment. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. And I believe you guys will be able to hear and get a real sense of, and I apologize for my technical difficulties. Here we go.
Thank you, Steve, for everything that you do. And hello, Ventura College. It is wonderful to join you. If we allow them, the arts uplift, heal, and transform us, especially when society is at its most vulnerable. As my contribution to the meaningful dialogue being shared throughout this Diversity Festival, it is my absolute pleasure to communicate with music. The bolero, or the flamenco-styled bolera, is a genre of Latin ballroom music and dance with origins in Spain, Cuba, Mexico, and elsewhere in the Americas. Maurice Ravel, whose Basque mother had a meaningful influence on his musical sensibilities, wrote the most famous bolero, one of his most successful works for orchestra. Now, with such vivid orchestrational color to transcribe, we'll need more than one piano. How about 4? Of course, in confinement, I can't be in the same hall with 3 other pianists, so I thought I would play all 4 pianos myself. Here is Ravel's Bolero.
Wow, fantastic.
I would like to play for you Wiedebrück, a love song by Robert Schumann, written for his wife Clara the year they were at last to be married, and transcribed for piano by Franz Liszt. Now, behind me is a painting by Josef Danhauser, titled Franz Liszt Fantasizing at the Piano. And indeed he is fantasizing, improvising, while gazing upon a bust of Beethoven. And they are surrounded by remarkable people. Writers Victor Hugo, Alexandre Dumas, Georges Sand, composers Berlioz, Rossini, Paganini, and all of these people were romantic staples who looked to Beethoven and his legacy for inspiration.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful.
Surely you know Art Tatum as one of the great jazz pianists and virtuosi. He was completely blind in one eye and nearly blind in the other. But as incredible as his pianistic career seems, knowing that fact, anyone hearing him play would consider him a legendary artist even if they didn't know about his blindness. He had an incredible encyclopedic memory, and as a baseball fan myself, I enjoyed discovering that his remarkable memory even applied to a formidable mental database of baseball statistics. Now, there's a story that Vladimir Horowitz, having heard about the great Tatum, went to a nightclub one night to catch his performance. It is said that after hearing Tatum, Horowitz turned to a friend and said, quote, "If he took up classical music seriously, I'd quit my job the next day," unquote. Here is a transcription of Art Tatum improvising in 1949 on Irving Berlin's classic melody, Blue Skies.
love that. I love that. So awesome. Improv.
Ellington. In Ellington's early years, he was a staple at New York's Cotton Club, a prominent uptown venue. Yet even when other clubs in New York, especially those downtown, allowed black and white patrons to intermingle, the Cotton Club continued to be wrought with racial injustice. Black patrons sat in the back third, behind partitions and columns. Black performers, including Ellington, had to enter through the service entrance, even if they were performing that night. Naturally, Ellington dedicated himself to social activism and to the promotion of racial equality through musical storytelling, such as in his 1943 work Black, Brown, and Beige, written for one of his numerous annual concerts in Carnegie Hall. Come Sunday, which I will play for you now, is the spiritual Duke Ellington wrote as part of Black. Carlos Chavez's influence on Mexico's modern musical culture and education is mammoth. His founding of the National Symphony Orchestra is the tip of the iceberg. But Chavez was also a trailblazer in his compositional style, bringing Mexican and Aztec folk music to life. Just as would happen when appreciating the murals and paintings of Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo, anyone around the world hearing a Chavez composition becomes immersed in the complexity and richness of Mexican culture. What better ambassador can a nation have? I have performed his magnificent and titanic piano concerto, but he is an eclectic composer, and I'd like to play for you now a very short work of an entirely different style, Hoja de Album. Here is a picture of Chavez at far left, with close friends Artur Rubinstein, Igor Stravinsky, and Aaron Copland.
Beautiful. That was great.
Since I'm in New York right now, 1 block away from Lincoln Center, how could I not play for you a piece by an artist who called both of those places home, Leonard Bernstein? He also personifies the spirit of globalism. He introduced an entire generation of children to the joys of classical music with engaging warmth in his 53 Young People's Concerts. And he performed Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, with its theme of universal brotherhood and love, in both West and East Berlin, shortly before the Berlin Wall fell. To end the program, Mambo, from West Side Story, refers to the Cuban-Mexican swinging dance music of the late 1930s, and I hope that it leaves you dancing and in festive spirits, even while sheltering in your homes.
That was fantastic. I just want to kind of transition back as my colleague Jen Chi was saying, what a beautiful way to heal during this pandemic. It definitely felt that way for me. I got such chills, and music does heal. So Jen Chi, I agree completely. That was very nice for you to say. It was a nice treat. We've been kind of heavy with some of the presentations dealing with everything that's come with COVID-19 and the pandemic. So I think what I'm going to try to do is borrow Llewellyn's time just for a few more minutes and see if we could get some questions. And I have a big one. And this is one that I debated because I watched this video a few times. It was video. I'm going to just, even though I tried my best to do the illusion, but I've watched this before. It doesn't appear that Llewellyn is reading music. It is all by memory. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Wow. Just super wow. Yeah, that was a lot of eclectic pieces that you have obviously put some time in. And the second question, this is from my daughter. I don't think you've met Stephanie, but no, she wants to know, how many hours do you practice daily?
Absolutely. So first question was about memorizing the music. I think that when we practice, and there's always so much repertoire to learn, but when we've had a chance to really get to know it, then it becomes a part of us, and we can then express ourselves without needing to look at the score, to look at the music, and go on to learning the next thing. And I think that there's so much music to learn, so it's wonderful to be internalizing as much of it as quickly as possible. And as far as practicing, number of hours practicing is concerned, I would say as many as possible. I know that there are always things that are going on in our lives, so it changes from day to day, but several hours every day for sure. And well, as much time as I spend at the piano, also time away from the piano, just kind of thinking about the music, internalizing it. Yeah.
Wow. So you say internalizing, it sounds like you're also composing your own stuff. And I've been following your career. I know that's something that you're very proud of as well, and as much as you highlighted these diverse composers and artists, I think it's just, if you could just for a little bit share some of the highlights of your creative process.
Oh, absolutely. I think that one of the great things about composing is that you're able to share your own thoughts directly from you, the performer, to your listener. And I find composition to be something wonderfully freeing and something that allows you to know your instrument and to know every instrument so much better. And I think that it's a very symbiotic relationship between performing and composing. One helps the other, and vice versa. Something else that I like to do a lot is improvise. And we saw a little bit of that earlier today, but I really enjoy improvising, both just entirely on my own material or taking a theme from somebody else, and in various styles ranging from different centuries, different parts of the world. I find that is another way to just diversify what we can present and to know our instrument as best as possible. So I think that as much variety as we can explore, the better.
Yeah, well, it's clear that you still enjoy playing and you're passionate about it. Matt Moore, another colleague who's a musician himself, he says, is it accurate to say you enjoy counterpoint in your pieces? You're quite good at it.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. And absolutely, yes. So the idea of counterpoint is how different voices, different parts that we're hearing simultaneously can interrelate, can talk to each other, have conversations. And I think that is those are the building blocks of music, just as grammar might be for prose. And yes, I think that some of the little nuanced relationships between one note and another, how they push and pull, can be so much fun and moving to explore. So no, Matt, I'm glad you enjoyed that. And yes, I certainly enjoy counterpoint in music. Absolutely.
Great. And Jen Shi, the artist in our call today, do you dream using music or language?
It's a great question. Well, first of all, I should say that I don't remember all of my dreams, so I can't give you the 100% accurate answer. But I would say that there's always a soundtrack playing,
Okay.
and this is when I'm dreaming. This is when I'm in the shower. I find that I'm constantly thinking about music, but of course prose, because I think that if we are to be artists ready to engage the world, we need to be as immersed in many subjects, many fields as possible. So I think that it's a blend of the two and of much more. But I do think, if I'm being honest, that I could say, is there an obsession that I have, with music? Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And baseball, evidently.
That's fun too, absolutely.
I love it. Are you Yankees or Mets?
Yankees.
Yankees. Yeah, that's closer to home. Yeah. Oh, this is from Peter, our librarian friend who you knew from way back when. I don't think he could see over the reference desk back when you were in school, but you sure can now. But what is the most challenging piece or composer you've ever played, and why?
Oh, okay. Excellent question, Peter. I think that it depends on what kind of challenge you mean, because if you take something like late Beethoven, with all of the transcendence and the profundity it has, and wanting to take this great message that he has to share with the world, to unify the world, to be able to handle every little nuance can be a wonderful and very rewarding challenge. At the same time, then you have the great virtuosic pianism of somebody like Liszt, with so many octaves and embellishments and kind of coloristic wonder emanating from the piano, and to be able to perform all of that dazzling material, which is so rigorous, can also take a lot of effort. And then sometimes it's, can there be a challenge in pulling off the humor or the fun or the dance in something like in Mambo that we heard or something else. So I would say that, yes, are there huge titanic works, Rachmaninoff concerti, that are infamous or to difficult to tackle? Absolutely. But I think that there are other types of challenges as well, and I relish challenges, so I like to explore them as much as I can.
Fantastic. So speaking of challenges, you have an amazing voice. I don't know if you're ever going to get to a point where you're going to be writing music and lyrics, and maybe exploring that eclectic side of you, maybe putting something out there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That is something that I would be very, very much interested to explore.
Okay. So anything you want to kind of update us on as a fanboy here? I want to be able to follow your career up to date. So do you have anything that's brewing that we can maybe look forward to?
Absolutely. So the first thing I'll say is if you go to my website,
Yeah.
which is my full name, LlewelynSanchez-Werner.com, I'm always updating that with new material. And that's probably the best and most consistent way to check. But yes, no, there are virtual performances that I have coming up. And what's been great about this pandemic is that otherwise, as I sort of mentioned at the beginning of the program, some things that were canceled were then converted into a virtual format. So I might be contacted by a presenter director and say, look, we can't have you as we said we were going to, but we would love for our subscribers to be able to hear you. So why don't you do something virtual for them now? And then you can go back to whatever city, whatever country, and perform for them when things are healthier and safer for everybody. So, as far as live is concerned, actually nothing until August has currently been
Okay.
scheduled, but many virtual things. And if you go to my website, you can check that out. Absolutely.
Thank you. And Peter did put that into the chat. Thank you, Peter, for doing that. The website for Llewellyn,
Yeah.
SanchezWerner.com. So if you want to keep up with Llewellyn, a former Ventura College student,
Yes.
and etc. It's where it all began. The thing that's really going to be interesting as we kind of go through this pandemic is that Llewellyn really did seize the moment and reinvent himself and learned all the heavy lifting, literally, of piano and the technology. And so I think your nimbleness and flexibility really did you well. So I think it goes back to your Ventura College days where you had to be nimble just to navigate the campus scene. So any other questions as we're kind of wrapping up our time with Llewellyn? I just can't thank you enough for your generosity, your humanity, and your humility, and being able to really jump to this standard of virtual festival. I hope someday when you get to the coast that we can connect in a safe way and catch up and continue to dialogue virtually in the meantime.
I
So
would love nothing more. Thank you so much, Steve.
You're very welcome. There is going to be a survey of those people that are on here. And, 27 of us got to see it live. This is being live streamed as well, and it will be recorded. I'm going to send you the links to Llewellyn so you can, put that in your archives, as this, I believe, is an awesome venue. Not necessarily up to some of the presidential Lincoln Center things that you've done, but I'm very proud to have witnessed this and to keep in touch. The survey is in the chat, and for those that are really working here, and I'm seeing that we're going to be able to end a little bit early so Llewellyn can get off to do some other work today. And I'm just going to check the chat. One Q&A just came in really quickly. Some people are doing it in the chat and some people are hitting me up. Just lots of accolades. Very impressive. This is from Lydia Morales. Thank you, Lydia. I'm so glad you joined us. Oh, here we go. Fundi, it was good to hear you explore many styles of music that you can and see where you can take you. It's good to see you today and how your career has taken off. I was a music director at Oxnard High, 92 to 2016, and your mother introduced us, and we put a concert together for you in our theater. Do you remember that, Llewellyn?
I absolutely remember that.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like old home week. Thank you, Fundi, for joining us. And he has the video. He has the video if you want to put that in the archives. You know, Llewellyn, you're such a gracious person. Yeah, and you guys can connect hopefully offline. Fundi, if you want to hit me up, I'll give Llewellyn's information. He's on social media and very, very accessible. Clearly, Stalker Steve was able to track him down. So the fact is, make sure you follow Llewellyn's career. It's inspiring. I've been crying for days just because it gives me a little hope, you know, in this very unpredictable world. Just lots of thank yous. Ron Mules, one of our colleagues, wonderful performance. Just accolades are coming all over the place. The survey has been a little bit challenging to find, Peter. Maybe what we can do is we'll of course post this on the portal as well for our session. But you're going to find it, Genchi, actually in the chat if you go there. Llewellyn, do you have any questions or thoughts for us back in your old stomping grounds?
Well, just to say thanks and that I am so grateful to have joined you today. And Steve, I have so many memories that I cherish of our time together, and your breadth of humanity and your sense of kindness and giving towards others inspires me.
Oh, well,
So
thank you.
I'm very glad to be a part of this diversity festival today, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Llewellyn. I'm so proud of you. It's great to know you. You have restored so much faith that I needed. So I appreciate the healing that you facilitated beautifully. So we're gonna, I think we're gonna be able to wrap a little bit early, Rock. My Rock's behind the scenes.
Thanks to the
And
interpreters as well, by the way. You guys are great.
they really have been. Yeah, we've had a very good accessibility feature this. So I'm very proud of everybody's efforts. And if you, I will hang on just a little while, but Llewellyn, I am going to let you go. I'll be in touch. Obviously, I think like we reconnected through this. So I'm feeling really good about this. I'm going to be a frequent follower of your career, your website, etc. Say hi to your mom,
and
dad.
by the way, Instagram as well. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just wanted to put that in there. Yeah.
I will definitely tag everything I can in my future efforts. Thank you everyone for attending. Again, this is going to be just the first day of several days. Tomorrow's kind of heavy on Moore Park, but Wednesday we're back with the Oxnard Ventura College collaboration. So check your portal, check your schedule. I'm really excited to, again, thank Llewellyn Sanchez-Werner for his time and generosity. Can we give a little virtual hand? Yeah, thank you so much.